Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Dude, there's nothing in the world that makes me happier, except for my kids, grandkids, all that type of stuff, than that jingle. That puts me in an instant good mood.
Especially a little pop at the end. Boop. Yeah. I love that.
Hey, this is episode, what is it, 87? 87, I think. So 87 of Mike and Blaine. And I tell you, I'm super excited about this one because we had to postpone a little bit because you have a new locale, right? So you've got a new locale. So welcome to the podcast, Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Mylan. That is Blaine Birch. And if you haven't seen us, go to mikeandblaine.com. If you haven't heard us, go there, buy us beer, get some merch, that type of stuff. But it's hard for me to get used to what's behind you, right? It's like I got used to the other set. Now you got a new set.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm in, and you can see I'm even dressed warmer because now I'm back up north in Canada. And I'm looking out on our yard with this giant window, and it's dead grass and trees with no leaves and kind of gray. And we left just blue sky, cruise through California. Anyway,
right, so
it's good to be back, though.
Yeah, so you're one of those cool kids that, we all admire. You live half the year in Canada. You live half the year in Scottsdale. Is it different? Is it different to walk back into a new house every 6 months?
We've been doing it for so long that we're home 5 minutes and we felt like we never left. And same thing when we're in Scottsdale. You walk in and 5 minutes later, you're like, wow, I feel like we've been here all year. But it's nice to be back though. And it was a fun trip up the coast. We went through some really cool places in California. You suggested Cannon Beach. We stopped in Cannon Beach. We had a place that literally overlooked the ocean. It was a suite, like a little apartment almost. Yeah. I don't know how we got it. We just got lucky, but it was awesome. So yeah, great trip. Awesome trip home, and good to be home. Yeah, one of the homes. Yeah.
Hey, I followed your trip on Facebook the whole way. I'm going, yep, he's doing all the cool stuff. Hey, you went to like River. What's that one? River.
Russian River.
Brewery. Yeah, Russian River.
Yeah,
you went to Russian River.
Yeah,
I like that whole area down there. So, is that was that Santa? Is that Santa Rosa?
It's Santa Rosa, yeah, and Pliny, one of the highest ranked kind of best IPAs in probably the world, is a Russian River beer. So we had, I had a few beers there. Tried a couple we've never tried before. Had a Pliny because I'm like, yeah, just have to before we leave. And then I went to a bar the next night. And they had some Russian River there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to have some more. Yeah. So I think a blind pig that night.
I feel like there's 2 or 3 breweries on that block. I felt like when I went to one, I could walk to another. That's not right?
There was one of them wasn't open, I don't think. And I don't know. We were just hanging out at Russian River till quite late, and then we just kind of stuck around there. But next time we'll go through town, we'll check out. Because I know there's some other breweries around there, and I bet you they're all really good. So, and we got to check out some breweries like in Oceanside. Actually, it was Carlsbad. We were stayed in South Oceanside. We went down to Carlsbad, and I think it was called Pure, if I remember right. It was a terrific brewery, and then we found breweries almost all the way up. One in Cannon Beach, and as well. So it was kind of neat to check out a bunch of these little breweries. One in Jasper, and it was a good little trip.
How cool is that? How cool. So, hey, speaking of beer, what are you drinking?
So today, local that I don't think I've featured these guys before, but this is Blind Enthusiasm. Got a really cool can, Shattered Shadows, which I think is a hilarious name. And it's, I think, the first time I've ever done a lager. It's only 4.7, so I'm like, this is the lightest beer, and the only time I've ever done a lager on our show. But I wanted to try this one, and I've been having a few lagers lately, like craft lagers, really nice ones, and this is a good one. Blind Enthusiasm, well known for doing sours, but the actual like lambics and like traditional sours, not the kettle sours, the ones that take 2-3 years or whatever to make. Great brewery. If you're in Edmonton, anyone ever comes to Edmonton, check out Blind Enthusiasm. Check out Bira. It's their little restaurant there. It's got amazing food. So anyway, it was fun to feature them today.
Well, what's interesting is that I also went lager today.
Oh,
So,
crazy.
because of the topic, I went crispy business.
Nice.
From Real L here in Texas, right? So, and it's also a 4 point something, but
Oh man, we might be
yeah.
speaking clearly by the end, which is
Yeah, we're
a
going to be
rarity
so
for.
coherent, right? So coherent. All right, but this one's tricky, right? They're a little sneaky with this. So, how many ounces do you think are in this can?
I don't know, normal can ounces. I have no idea.
But you would always think,
I don't know how many ounces are in a can.
Hey, man, 12 ounces is in a can. No, not this one. 13 ounces, right? So they snuck an extra ounce in, right?
See, I'm in Canada, so 355 milliliter is what I was thinking. And this is 473 milliliter, which is a pint, I think, actually. So.
Yeah, we're not speaking milliliters here.
Yeah, no, not on this show. The rest of the world can, but certainly not this show. So.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, so we're gonna have that. But I looked at that. I said that says 13 ounces. So it's like a little sneaky thing that they did. Like, we're gonna give you an extra ounce. They probably charged me for it too. But, but you know,
Guaranteed.
all right. So I've been doing this thing, right? And I'll tell you what. I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook today, but I stumped ChatGPT.
Okay. No, I didn't see that.
Where normally it gives you some like polite, sarcastic answer if it doesn't want to answer something. Yeah. So it's almost snarky, right? when you listen to it. But I asked it a question, and it just sat there and blinked, and it could not return an answer. Could not. So I stumped it to where it's like going, it has zero. It can't return anything, and it finally just sat there, nothing. Right. And I asked it several different times of the day. It cannot answer this question.
All right, what's the question? Now I'm dying to hear because I didn't see the post.
I said, list 5 unknown things that improves a small business cash flow. List 5 unknown things. And I think it's the word unknown.
Unknown.
Freaked it out. Like going,
yeah.
Or maybe it's stumping me like going, well, bitch, it's unknown. You're gonna know it.
Maybe if you said lesser known, it might have come up with something. I don't even know if it would, because that's interesting. Unknown, and it just broke it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably no one could probably get to ChatGPT all day because of Mike, because he asked it a question. It doesn't shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, because it's a different way, and this is what brings this up. It's a different way to say predict. Right.
Okay.
Tell me something unknown. Predict, the unknown. Right. So I think it knows the word predict. I don't know what it does with the word unknown. Right. Because you're like, how could it return anything? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, how could you return something if it's unknown?
Yeah, exactly. I think you just killed ChatGPT.
And here's what brought all this up. Right. Today's topic was, I wanted it to predict small business trends for 2023. And normally it won't do that, but there's enough articles out there, I guess, which really surprised me. Now I think about it. Remember there's a cutoff date. Remember it says we don't have anything after September 17th or whatever of 2021. Well,
yeah.
Where the hell did this come from?
Yeah. Long-term, very long-term trends. Yeah. That's
but I think it'd probably be fun to go through it.
Yeah,
and it's snarky itself. I said, can you predict what will happen in small business in 2023? That was the question.
Yep.
And again, I get ChatGPT snark. As an AI language model, I don't have access to the future, and I cannot predict what will happen in small businesses in 2023 or at any other time. However, based on current trends and projections, I can suggest some possible developments. All right. So
it's predicting, yeah.
It's predicting. So, all right. So I got 5 of them. Let's kind of debate them. So, it thinks the continued growth of e-commerce, right? So people are going to continue to shop online. So let's just start there.
Holy shit! Is it really? People will still buy stuff on Amazon. Won't be gone tomorrow. Now I'm getting snarky.
Yeah, I'm like going, really? That's what you come up with? But here's the thing. I'm like going, that's probably more true than they realize, because I went to the grocery store yesterday.
Yeah.
and it was the worst possible experience I think you could have. I'm getting to the point, Blaine, where I don't like to be around other people. Crowds I'm like, they're always in my way. I'm kind of a bigger guy anyway, so you try to turn a cart in any of those aisles, it's terrible. I always feel like there should be a stoplight at the end of every aisle because people are just blowing by. There's going to be a horrendous crash, and we're going to have beans all over the floor.
I'm kind of like that all the time, so I totally get it. I can relate, and it's gotten worse now. Like especially crowds when you have to do something. Not crowds in a bar or something, although I still like that to be kind of 3/4 full. But yeah, shopping and grocery shopping is one of the worst. It's one of the worst.
Any of them. But you said you used to be a crowd bully. You just plow right on through. And you said the thing was don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact and just plow through everybody. Exactly.
But I don't plow. Plow's the wrong word. It's finesse through, because what you do, I tried this recently on my bike. I was riding, and there's people were just like ignoring the bike path, like just they were one, and so I would just sort of glance, or you got sunglasses on, you just kind of turn your head a bit this way, and then everyone just gets out of the way. And I found this out in crowds. I don't know if we brought this up on the show before, but getting these crowded stadiums and walking through the stadium, what I would do is you just walk and then just kind of look over to the side, and like they just part. So I don't actually plow. I think it's sort of a psychological trick my way through a crowd. Try it sometime, because it's amazing when they see you coming right at them, but you're not looking at them. They just move out of the way.
So you use the force because you said this is not the biker you're looking for.
Exactly. Got to slide out of the way. It's a little trick that I stumbled on years ago, and every once in a while I get in the crowd and I start to get annoyed. And I'm like, here we go. And they just kind of walk and look off to the side, and everyone just gets out of the way. It's kind of I don't know, it might be a really dickish thing, or maybe just really, I don't know, clever. I'm not sure.
Okay, so post-COVID, I'm doing more grocery shopping at home. I'm actually getting beers and wines delivered at home now too. What trend do you think will be after that? Where people just say, I'm only getting this delivered now?
Yeah. I will say that we've been doing I go to grocery store every once in a while now, but honestly, we still kind of get it delivered or pick it up, have them package everything and pick it up, because it's just so much easier, or delivered straight to the door because I just don't want to go. But unlike you, I have to go to the beer store and be able to look at the cans and look at everything in person. And but I like to go to these little independent craft shops, so they're usually not too busy. But during COVID, I did order some beer here and there to the house. You know what? So I stopped by the grocery store the other day because we literally just drove into town. Fridge is empty. We were ordering food from Uber Eats, and I'm like, I went and got a bunch of beer. On the way home, I stopped at a grocery store. I just wanted to pick up a few of the, so I can make toast in the morning and stuff. And while I was in line to buy my groceries, I ordered coffee beans from a local roaster to be delivered straight to our house. Just while I'm one person ahead of me, and it was that quick that I just went, okay, here, bop, 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 on its way. And I'm like, yeah. So coffee, I get delivered now. It's weird.
Okay, so you mentioned COVID. How many times did you wipe down the bags or the cans that came into your house?
Oh, early on, we were, because they they're kind of like, oh my God, it's coming in the house and it'll burn your house down. So we were wiping everything. And, but the one thing I still do though, is, I wipe the tops of the cans, just because during COVID, I started to you start thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
So now that we're kind of past that, it's more like, yeah, where's this can been sitting? And I'm going to crack this can and I'm going to drink from it, or I'm going to pour it in a glass. And what exactly was on the top of the can that just dropped into the can when I opened it? So I just rinse it under the water, and because I'm like, I don't want dust. I don't know, warehouse bird poop or something in there. So so one thing I do is top of the can, just always a little wipe.
I do that sometimes in different places, but anymore I'm like going, I'm going to let some germs in, right? Because I still think your immune system needs to be exposed to some bad stuff, right? right? That
I get plenty.
healthy,
Yeah.
right? Huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I get plenty of that because outside of the top of the beer can, the rest is like that fork. It's kind of clean, and like my coffee mug, it's like it's kind of brown and gross in the bottom, and it'll probably still be brown and gross tomorrow morning. I'll just rinse it out.
Speaking of, mine's going to be here this week.
Awesome, nice.
My coffee mug of Mike and Blaine. Which, do you have one there, or did you leave it in Arizona?
I left it in Arizona. But I picked up. Okay, little side story. Santa Barbara, little pilgrimage. I got to go to the Powell and Peralta, the original shop for Powell and Peralta skateboards. That was like just one of the birthplaces of skateboarding. That sort of new skateboarding in the 80s and 90s. Got to go to the shop, and I actually got a deck signed by J.V. Johnson, who actually designed a bunch of the Powell Peralta skull deck work. Got an autographed deck from that, and got a bunch of swag from the store that just is like from that shop, the only place you can get it. And one of them was a big Yeti mug with the Ripper skull coming through. I'll have to show it next time. So that's going to be my mug for the next
cool.
year. Yeah.
All right, so what do you think's next? Where do you think you're going to have delivered next? I mean, just as a society, we're like going, we don't need to go to the store for this anymore. We'll just have it delivered.
Next. The tricky part is, man, there's not a lot that we go to the store to buy anymore. I really have struggle even thinking about it. You know what? I haven't bought clothes in a store in years.
Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable with that. For a long time, I couldn't do it because of fit and feel, and I'm like, I got some weird stuff come in. I'm like, I don't like it. That if I would have tried it on at the store, I wouldn't have bought it. Or if I've even felt the material, I wouldn't have bought it. Right?
Yeah, I've been I've experimented a bit, and I'm I've measured things. Like I got my jeans, actually they're Japanese denim from Japan, so I have to do measurements on my old pair of jeans and then measure and check it all out before I order from the other side of the planet. And then I got a jean jacket that was also Japanese denim, but it came from Spain. And then I got a lot of my shirts, they're all from Unbound Merino. I'm going to give them a plug because if you want a great merino shirt, Unbound Merino they're unbelievable. And then this I think is like Icebreaker, and everything's just ordered. The belt I'm wearing, I ordered. Like I just start ordering stuff. But if I'm once I know it and trust it, I keep ordering the same stuff from the same designers, right?
I remember I'm texting, man. You're starting to sound a little fancy to me, right? The Japanese denim and ordering roasted beans from the checkout line. I'm like,
oh yeah.
One of my favorite shirts that I wear, and Breger points it out all the time. He says we need one for this show. Is something similar. It's from Target. It was matter of fact, it was like $3 from Target. I think it was on special for $3. And
I'll admit I'm a total closet hipster. I try not to look too much like it, but I love nice clothes. Like,
dude,
I will tell you,
you're out of the closet right now.
you try one of these shirts on, one of these merino shirts from Unbound, and you'll never be able to put another shirt on again because they are so comfortable, and they last for years, and they're so bloody comfortable. You can't. I went out to do some yard work in Arizona before I was cleaning up the yard right before I left. And I grabbed an old cotton shirt off the rack because I didn't want to get, nice shirt dirty. And I put it on, and it felt like I put on a rucksack. And I just took it off and put on another shirt because I'm like, I've spoiled myself. They're just way too comfortable, just unbelievably comfortable.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find what I need. Maybe. All right, so Amazon's doing better at this because they have figured out almost to within the day when we need dog food. Based on the frequency and the timing of when we bought it in the past. Like, when they buy this bag, they generally reorder another bag in X number of days. I'm like going, that's really convenient. We should just subscribe, right? Because it's almost every time. And even if we didn't subscribe, that reminder is key, right? I mean, you're going to buy that anyway, right? You're going to buy it anyway. So that's kind of an interesting new thing that you could have delivered. And not worry about, oh man, we don't have anything to feed the dog.
And and this is a topic we should actually look at maybe for Thursday. We're doing another episode coming up this week. The stuff that you're describing there is so incredibly helpful and incredibly useful, but it does collide with a lot of people's beliefs in privacy. So people shut off all kinds of stuff, and then you don't get these reminders, you don't get these things that are relevant, and so you're fed irrelevant crap all the time for the quest of being like having this privacy. But I understand. I'm like, I kind of do the same thing. Like, no, don't follow me, don't follow me, don't follow me. Interesting topic though is at some point is because what you're talking about, how do businesses get to their customers? And what you're talking about there is an absolutely unbelievable way for them to get those repeat customers. Mm-hmm. And it helps you out a lot. And yet a lot of people would probably cut that off.
Yeah, because they don't want to, I don't want the government to know that I have to buy dog food every, 6 weeks or whatever it is,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know that I'm hurt by that piece of information that I buy this dog food on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's an immediate reaction that people a lot of times just shut stuff off, and probably to their own detriment. But there isn't a lot that you can't order online anymore. Like if you look at, how often do people actually buy cars off the lot anymore? Compared to going online and picking all of your stuff and picking your colors and picking your seats and picking your this, picking your that, and then sending it out and you order it. The only thing is it doesn't show up at your house. But how long why would they have much of a dealership?
But don't you think, all right, so the car to me is so personal, right? Because I've sat in cars I just don't like, and I'd be really upset if I bought something online. I'm like, oh, I don't like the way this drives, or the way the knob is, or the turn signals, or where the radio controls are, or it doesn't. The seat feels weird. That's a personal feeling to me. That when I get in, I'm going to spend time in that car, so I want it to feel just right.
Same here. And I would be, if I did order a car, I would actually go test drive a car, and then I would maybe go, I just want a different color or something, right? But I'm the same way. Like the last car I bought, I must have test drove. Heather must have just getting so tired of it. I must have test drove a dozen cars, and I was like, nah. And then I tried one, and I'm like, oh, this thing's awesome. And that was the one I bought. It was all down to the feel of the drive. Like it's just you either like a complete emotional thing. So I'm the same way. I can't just go order a car. I have to drive it and get the feel. And do I grin from ear to ear, or am I just kind of yawn, right? And
the way I bought the last one, I didn't go the lot. Right, so here I'm like going, I'm that guy that just did that, right? I negotiated online, the whole works.
Yeah.
But a couple of months before, I had rented a car, and you don't know what you're going to get. And I'm like going, I got a Ford Expedition and drove it for 4 days. But I took it on the highway, I took it in town, I parked it, drove it around, went through drive-thrus. I'm like going, yeah, this is me. I just felt right, instantly. I'm like going, now I took a chance, like going, well, if I order another Ford Expedition like this, it should be the same experience.
Should be the same. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could probably trust that.
Yeah, I can trust that one. Yeah, that's funny. So, all right, you want to look at another one here? Here's the second prediction, right? There's an increased adoption to automation, which means small businesses will increasingly adopt automation technologies and reduce costs, improve efficiencies. And that includes, this is ChatGPT saying, it includes the use of chatbots, robotic process automation, and AI-powered tools.
Yeah, so it's just boosting itself. It's like me. You're going to use more of me because I'm awesome.
You're going to need me. I am the chatbot or ChatGPT guy.
No prediction, but you're going to want me. But, again, no shit. Like they've been doing, business have been doing that for years, and especially through the last 3 years through COVID. So again, I'm still waiting for something that has some bit of surprise to it.
Yeah, this one isn't going to be it. I mean, we're going to automate, but I mean, I still have a weird sense that some automation can't happen. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be. I mean, there's some human contact that has to take place. There's got to be. I don't care if I'm talking to an AI, and they might be able to do this, right? Which is, I want to see, hear, feel authenticity from that person on the other side.
Yeah. There's, I don't know if AI is that much different than when the personal computer sort of took over, and it's like, oh, everyone's going to lose their jobs, and somehow there was more work after, because AI is going to be really good at some stuff, But I'm not convinced that people would sit there and listen to ChatGPT do a podcast talking to another AI because, like, let's, tell a story.
Yeah.
It can't tell any dumb stories, right? It doesn't know any.
No, yeah. I mean, tell me a memory. Tell me a memory, or like, you and your friends were down at the swimming hole, or what. It's never going to be able to do that, which is the entertainment and the connection part that we do as humans. Now, I can tell you something I think it does really well, better than probably 90% of people. And I'm saying this just based on what I see, right? I think it has better writing skills than most people. Just basic writing.
Yeah, no, I agree when it's I agree when you need an English major to write something. It's good at that. What I don't think it's good at is doing something that is sort of approachable and feels, like you said, authentic and real.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk like people talk, but it writes just proper language and syntax and everything else. It does that really well, right?
Yeah, the rules of grammar are well applied.
Yeah, and for that, it's great, but it's also that's really good because it's useful for people. It's not really replacing people because I think people they can use it as a really great tool and they can speed things up remarkably well, but you have to input something because if you're writing something, do you really want to just regurgitate the median of the crap that's out there, or do you want to have something novel, right?
Well, this is where, all right, so it's anti or total opposite of what teenagers do today. Meaning that, we saw, our daughter's text messages. We're like going, it's like a big run-on sentence of just like, all the way through. Just asking her, like, what are you doing that? Because we could see the responses, and they were the same. They're saying punctuation was too slow when it was for old people. Like, look, you don't need that. You should be able to just know what I'm saying. Right? You shouldn't need a period to know that the thought's complete. I'm like going, what? Yeah. Like, it was like total craziness to me. And then all of the garbage that they say from drip to Slade or whatever, I'm like going, yeah, man, I don't know any of that. So it's like a whole new language and a whole new way of communicating that. Yeah. What is AI going to do with that? What does AI do with that type of real? I mean, it's obviously real. That's how teenagers communicate, and maybe even young adults now. How does that translate to everyday life and the workplace, your small business, and your family?
Yeah, and I can't imagine it's like, again, it just analyzes reams and reams of data. I don't know. It'd be interesting to just say, like, hey, tell us, tell us something about, like, hey, pick a restaurant for dinner and send it to me like a teenager would and see if it writes it. Because we actually asked ChatGPT one day to write something for us that was sounded like, I can't remember what we said, a obnoxious prick or something like that. It actually did a pretty good job. It was kind of funny, but I don't know if it could do teenager because that slang and stuff. I don't know if it'll be able to do that. Right?
I wonder if you could put copy of the text message in there and said, "Tell me what this means."
That'd be interesting, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, can you interpret what the heck this 16-year-old is saying?
Yeah, and that might be really useful for, like, I'm not a parent, but I would say for you, let's say, what if it actually did translate for you automatically? That'd be kind of neat, right?
All right, so what's going to be, I guess they kind of already have that for like foreign languages, right? Because they already have where I can say something in my language and it interprets it for you if you're speaking French.
Yeah.
Right, they
amazing.
Have that, right?
Yeah, and that actually, when you say that, it actually blows me away that there's basically like this Star Trek universal translator thing that works just like the movies, that is kind of ignored, and people kind of just take it for granted, like, whatever, it's there. And it wasn't that long ago where I remember traveling overseas and looking through the book and trying to phonetically speak the language and all this, and it just suddenly just disappeared, and now it's like C3PO in your pocket, and it's just like a shrug, right? It's like, whatever.
Hey, do you know there's a place in the United States, it's on the East Coast. I want to say Virginia, it could be Maryland, it could be, I don't know where exactly. It could be one of the Carolinas, but
Yeah.
where they still speak, it's an island, right? So it's kind of detached from the mainland, and they still speak with almost a Puritan accent, where it's almost unrecognizable. It's such a dialect that's so thick
Yeah.
that, if you're from the outside, it's hard to discern, and keep up with. And I watched some documentary on it. I'm like going, oh my God, I don't know what he said. and they're just having a basic English conversation, but it's connected to like almost a Puritan, or I want to say Dutch, and I'm probably way wrong, dialect that's so hard, right in the middle of the coast on the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. I've, like in Canada here, we like rural Newfoundland, people that have come out west from rural Newfoundland, or if we've been out there, it's a challenge. It sometimes can be a challenge talking with someone. The dialect is so different that I'm kind of like, just, okay, yeah. And it's like speaking a second language and trying to like, I'd have about as much luck with someone speaking French, I think. And I will tell you, okay, I got back here and someone told me I have a drawl. Just the other day, and I'm like, well, just give me a few days. Give me a few days, it'll fade. Because when I get down to Arizona, I get the Canadian thing, and then I came back here and I got to like, you got to draw, and I, like, what?
So they don't have a draw in Arizona, right? It's not a draw.
It's just an American. That's how Canadians refer to it. I think I must sound more like an American when I come home. And we did notice cultural differences as soon as we got across the border. Like a few hours in, also like, something's weird here. And then I realized, like, oh, we're in Canada. That's why.
That's what I think every time. I'm like, it's like slightly off. Looks kind of the same, but not. It's like one of those teddy bears, with one eye is just kind of slightly off.
It's just different. And we realize that it's like, then we get down to the States in the first 2 weeks, it feels a little weird. And then we're right in and feeling normal, right? But it's kind of funny that how different it is with, we crossed a line on the ground, and suddenly people are a little different. It's just kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I won't go there. I want to push you on that. I'm like, okay, what was different? What do you think is different?
I will say, and I okay, Canadians, don't get your feelings hurt about this. We got to Jasper in Alberta, and we stayed an extra day, and we got a great place, and we just enjoyed it there. But for over half a day, as we were walking around and we went for a hike, and there's all these people passing us, and I started to feel really uncomfortable, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then all of a sudden I turned to Heather and said, I know what it is. Canadians aren't friendly. And it is so different. It's polite. They might nod at you, hi, under their breath or whatever. They're not friendly. It's very different. And when we get down to the States, and I'm like, we get down to the States for the first couple of weeks there, it's like, why is everyone paying attention to you?
This is too much.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, like, why, I'm not a celebrity here, but people always want it, like, it's friendly, it's totally different. Yeah. And it takes a couple of weeks to get into that. But it hit me a lot this year that I was like, what is wrong? This is just uncomfortable. There's something weird. And then that's what I realized. It was just not friendly, like not the same friendliness. And so really different,
All right, so hey, we're about halfway the show. I want to go over the next three, but I want you to talk about dry run today.
Sure. Oh, we're doing it. Okay, let's kick her off here.
For those of you that don't know, we don't have a sponsor currently. So Cashflow Mike and Dry Run are the current sponsors of Mike and Blaine. And so we're going to talk to Blaine about Dry Run. We try to do something like this halfway through the show each time.
Yeah, exactly. And so this week, Dry Run. And so we can help you if you have lumpy cash flow. That's what we do. So, basically 2/3 of businesses are struggling with sending out invoices. They're overdue, they're late. Their sales pipeline is usually full of big deals and they're inconsistent. And suddenly you have these big peaks and valleys. That's what we help you do. So we help you see your cash flow so you can kind of deal with it ahead of time. We help you make sure you're getting paid because, you know, who owes me money, who's late, who am I going to chase down this week? And then we help you make a plan to fix it. Run some scenarios, understand where you're going. So that's what Dry Run is all about. Please come and check us out at dryrun.com. We can help you with that.
And I got to tell you, I mean, I keep seeing improvement in your product all the time. That new stuff you're showing me, I don't know if it's out yet, but maybe I got a sneak peek. But man, you guys are going to be impressed. He says lumpy, I say clunky, right? Where you just can't make it match. It just doesn't feel like it's working just smoothly. If you want a business that runs smoothly, check out Dry Run.
Yeah, thank you. And we and Mike has had a little bit of a sneak peek on some things that are coming up in the next about a month. I think the official launch is going to be early June, likely June 1st, and you'll actually get to see the new Dry Run. So we are super excited about it. But we have Dry Run here today. You can absolutely come and talk with us. We'll help you out. But I'll tell you, the new one's pretty freaking cool. So
see, look at that. That's called building anticipation.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sneak peeking this too because we got a couple commercials coming out, videos. They're amazing. They're just terrific. But lumpy is what people are talking with us about. They got lumpy cash flow, and what we're going to do, and a little sneak peek here, in June, if you purchase a subscription of Dry Run, we are going to send you a packet of gravy, and you're going to be entered into a draw for the Gravy Boat of the Month.
So it's a great. Okay, so that's pretty clever, right? So
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be super fun. Yep.
All right. So how do you win? All right, you send a packet of gravy. Do I want it to be lumpy or not lumpy?
We're gonna send you a packet of gravy. You can do it any way you want, and you're gonna get entered into a draw for the Gravy Boat of the Month. And so we haven't shown the Gravy Boat yet, but we will. We will when we kick it off, and you'll get to see like what Gravy Boat is going to be kicking it for.
Oh man, that's funny. That's good stuff. All right, good stuff. So hey, check out Dry Run, and let's talk about ChatGPT. What else did it think it was going to happen? What else?
Yeah. Hopefully something better than what has come up with so far.
So far it's been pretty uneventful. I haven't been impressed with ChatGPT anyway, but that's just me. All right, number 3 is there's going to be a greater emphasis on sustainability, right? As consumers become more environmentally conscious, small businesses may place a greater emphasis on sustainable practices, including green technologies, eco-friendly materials, and packaging. All right, now they're just dialing it in. You're having to do that because you can't get the other materials, and they're creating regulations so that you can't get other materials. Right? So I'm like going,
yeah,
that's kind of bullshit to me.
Again, that's been going on for a while here. It's been not really even a trend. It's just like a whole movement that's been happening for a long time. This is where it feels like it is going back to like 3, 4, 5 years, because that's when all this stuff has started, like gaining momentum. But I do agree with it. I do agree with it because, what? Yeah, like some of this is driving. Okay. So I'm going to admit something here. I take a pill for an antacid. Okay. Turn the big 5-0. I take an antacid. And so I went and got a little container at Costco, and they had 3 little jugs of these little pills, little purple ones. And it had a big piece of cardboard and plastic and 3 plastic bottles. And you could actually take, I think it was, I can't remember how many I counted. I think it was 6 bottles and put it into one. And so it was just this massive waste of packaging and containers because they want it to look like you get more for your dollar. But I was absolutely infuriated because I'm opening all this up and I'm like emptying them all into like basically one little bottle and realizing that how much waste and stupidity and how much I'm actually paying for all that packaging instead of put one bloody container on the shelf and I'll buy it. I'm not a moron. So that really annoyed the hell out of me that it was so wasteful and excessive and stupid. Because it's trying to manipulate me into buying it, thinking I'm getting more for my dollar.
Yeah, I guess that's been going on for a long time, right? Just packaging, different things that they do. I mean, because even the box of cereals look like there's more in it than there are. I mean, even.
But at least that settles a little bit. But I totally agree with you. But that's the problem when you say it's been going on for a long time and you think, okay, that's been going on globally for a long time. How much just complete and utter waste, and that all has to be shipped. Everything has to be like shipped here, shipped there, shipped across the world. And you just look at how inefficient and how dumb that is just to try and convince me to buy. And that to me, is just, it's insane. That just, it's such a waste.
How much of the bulk items do you buy at, we'll say, the grocery store? Before you go and you just, it's raw stuff sitting in those tubes and you just kind of pour it out. Oh, I need raisins. I need this spice. I need this coffee.
Yeah. Almost like basically zero, because I'm just literally grossed out by that. Especially if it's a bin. You open it up, people are freaking digging and shit. Oh man, that just grosses me out. So there's a gross out factor. So I'm talking about.
You don't know, little kids putting their hands in there.
Yeah.
Courtney,
I totally get that.
Courtney says the best. I mean, little kids have the creepiest hands. I don't know what it is. Like, what?
Oh yeah.
And I love little kids. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I don't want them to put their hands all over the food.
No, me neither. I'm grossed out by that. But like, I had a minor in industrial design. I remember doing, like, this is 20 some years ago, and we would do packaging design, and there's ways, like, you're looking at how do you do elegant, beautiful packaging, but not wasteful, not ridiculously wasteful, and there's a balance there. So I still think I want to be able to go get a product that should be packaged. Like, I don't want people getting their grubby little hands over all my food and everything, especially if it's not something you just, like, you can't rinse, hey, let's wash my cereal before I eat it, right? Not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that it should just be absolutely wasteful so that it has more of a presence on the shelf next to the other guys. And you know what? The reason they do it is because there's no regulation at all. Or maybe there is. But the regulation, imagine if they just said, yeah, your product, you can't have more than like 15 or 20% of just freaking wasted space. That seems like not, because now it's like 50, 60, 80%. These little containers, thousands of percent of wasted garbage that I just was infuriated by.
Speaking of that, the herbal supplement that Rick and I created called Recover, we had a distributor that wanted to distribute in Canada, right? Came to us and says, hey, I want to bring this up to Canada. So we looked into the regulations, and we were going to have to change our packaging just for Canada and put French on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's probably...
we're not going to do that.
Probably right on here even...
because we
didn't see there isn't, but we're in Alberta.
Yeah. But we couldn't see the market. We're like going, I don't want to spend all that to just try to figure out... I don't speak French for one, so I'm like going, I would have to get somebody to reproduce our packaging with both English and French on it.
I wonder if ChatGPT would do that. That'd be kind of handy.
That would have
translate all this into French.
In 2010 or whatever, that would have been real handy.
Yeah.
But, all right. But here's what I think. I think there's the green industry is its own economy, I think, because I talk to business owners every day.
Yeah.
And nobody says that their whole goal is to be more green, to be more, sustainability. I mean, I think I've only talked to 2 in 10 years of people that are totally focused on that.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, as a small business, it's bloody hard.
Yeah.
Like, you're looking at survival. Like, okay, rank your problems. Well, we're trying to freaking survive and keep cash flow moving. We got to get some sales coming in. I need staff that can do this. I need them to be trained. We need culture. Like, all these things are really, really important. So when someone says, yeah, are you sustainable? Frank, we're trying, but there's a lot of things that are really making the world like tough, right? But it's not like I really think that it does bother me. It does bother me to see just this massive amount of wastage. And the other thing is because it all costs money too. That's the other thing is it costs businesses money. It costs individuals money. You're paying for all this to get all this crap and move it all over to you in packaging. And then you rip everything out of the package and then you put it in the garbage. And then now they got to move it all away and you're paying for that too. And you're paying coming and going because they don't want to do something efficient. And even as a small business, you don't have room to not be efficient. So why is this big gaping hole of not efficiency, right?
Yeah, I would think that's right. But I just think there's a lot more people that just aren't thinking about it. They get what they can get. They're not saying, oh, well, I've had choice. I can get this silicone epoxy to seal up a concrete crack, or I don't even know if there's a green alternative to that to fix a foundation crack, right? That's just one of the businesses I've talked to recently. That's why it popped up. I'm like going, but I don't know of any. I've had zero conversations, we'll say this year, 2023, that relate to sustainability or green practices. Zero.
Yeah.
And not because I haven't wanted to have the conversation, they've just never appeared.
Well, and I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing, but it's also, like I said, what is topical? It doesn't mean that businesses aren't trying to get sustainable. It's just not probably top of mind every day, but hopefully they're thinking about things.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's again, like you're just trying to, like, businesses are trying to survive right now, you know, but like I said, it is actually harder outside of the sales end because you don't want your competitor to have more, shelf coverage than you or whatever. It's costing everybody money. It's costing absolutely everybody money.
All right, so I got two more left.
All right.
Let's go through this next one pretty fast because I think we can go real deep on the fifth one.
All right.
All right, so the next one is there's a growing focus on employee wellness, mental health, productivity, morale, wellness programs, flexible work arrangements, mental health resources. What's weird is it says mental health in this one paragraph 4 times.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's been a topic, especially since, not especially since, but I think it's actually increased after people started working from home during COVID. And so again, to me, I'm like, yeah, it's just looking back a little bit. So, but it's true. Like those are super important though. But again, totally
I don't think
predictable.
I don't think that because we're small business guys, we're not saying, I need to concentrate on my employees' mental health. They're not looking at it from, I need to help this employee. They're looking at it from, what can I do to retain employees or attract employees? It's more of a recruiting retention tool than it is, I think, than just overall, I care about everybody. And that's probably a controversial statement, but I think it's a recruiting retention tool more so than an actual need.
I would say that it's more a need in small business than enterprise. Although enterprise has the resources, small business has to depend on every single person, right?
See, I would think small business employees would rather have more money than a mental health wellness checkup annual.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about focusing on mental health. I think mental health has probably a bigger impact on small business because you have a small team and you need your team to be healthy and effective. So that's. Anyway, I think that's, again, it's a topic that's been topical for quite some time.
Is it the role of a business to take care of their employees that way? That's a whole different. We could have a whole episode on that. What's really the role of the business? Is it to provide that or not?
Well, there's the business absolutely has a role. The where the line is where the debate is, I think.
Yeah. All right. So the last one I wanted to say for the we could probably spend the rest of the show just on this one.
Okay.
Increased use in data analytics. They may be using it to gain insights into customer behavior, market trends, operational efficiency. This includes machine learning algorithms, identifying patterns in data, and using predictive analytics to forecast the future. So, Blaine, That was almost a commercial for us, really, for Dry Run, cash flow forecasting, and Cash Flow Mike, where I do forecasting and data analytics.
Yes, but again, it's five that were probably talked about 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Like it's the ChatGPT didn't just invent like Google Analytics and Dry Run, right? Like it's so I like, yeah. I'm just wondering before, like, instead of diving into that, I just want to, what are we seeing as potential changes? What do we see maybe over the horizon in 2023 that this Chat GPT has, to me, it's spit out 5 things that it just grabbed from a bunch of old articles and puked out.
All right, so here's what I'm seeing right now. There is a lot of talk about recession. There's a lot of talk about impending doom. To me, that's why I think my stuff is becoming more popular, because mine is foundational. Mine is, listen, I mean, the basics of business, if you maintain at least that and don't get too far left, too far right, you are more likely to survive a storm, a recession or otherwise, right? It's just the basics, right? It's like we beat up Silicon Valley Bank, but they got outside the norm, right? They went outside the pattern, this pattern of success that keeps people happy, healthy, and safe in business. I think that, with recessions, if you're not finding a way to create a solid financial basis for your company, you are the one that's going to be swept away.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing that, like, this ChatGPT, like, and that's what it does. It grabbed a bunch of topics from probably how many of the last years and kind of puked it out. That's not businesses. In 2023, you're exactly right. There's this, I don't know if it's impending, I don't know if it's guaranteed, but there's a recession coming, likely, I suppose. But even, see, the thing is like, even if it's like, well, does it actually meet the guideline to be a recession? Doesn't matter. Small businesses are getting their ass kicked right now, whether it does or doesn't. It's a hard time right now. In the startup community, you've seen that was very difficult to raise money, and then it started to get a little bit better, and now they're saying, oh, now it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. There's big problems, and they almost all relate to finance right now, and also inflation. Mm-hmm. People don't have as much as disposable income, and if they do, they're scared to spend it in some cases, or like, how is that going to affect small business? So there's a whole bunch of things to me that are going to have potentially a massive impact on small business. And to me, ChatGPT just kind of like shit the bed and said, yeah, here's the 5 things that I'm like, blah, 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 blah. That's not what people are worried about right now. They're worried about how the hell are we going to survive over the next few years? Are we going to have the same sort of level of sales? Are we going to grow? I think it was just lackadaisical, really.
Well, I mean, let's look at the biggest glaring thing that I saw this week. Target in, San Francisco, put up the glass cages on all merchandise. Right? They're getting tired of being broken into and robbed and stolen from and all that type of stuff, so they're building cages around it. That's really just a temporary step to me, because they might move online, or just out, meaning that we're only doing what we can to keep this store open for a little bit until we figure out a way not to be here.
Oh, I totally agree. Like if you're, and it really comes down to the baseline economics of whether you're making money, but it also, here's another example. Is that a safe place for your staff to be? Like if they actually,
wait, didn't I see this place robbed last week?
Yeah.
Work there.
And so that actually, that really moves forward the idea of, so it's not just convenience to have things delivered to your house. It's also sort of safety. And the other thing, you mentioned this, actually, we were talking a little bit about clothes, because I've been getting my clothes mostly delivered, mostly because I can't just go out and buy it because it's coming from somewhere weird. But it is a lot easier to return things. And I think Amazon has set sort of the gold standard for returns, because like literally they'll come to your house and pick it up, or like we used to just pop over to Whole Foods and just walk in, done. It was so easy. And so that takes away some of the fear and everything from ordering things online.
Speaking of that, I have yet to be, because most of these UPS stores are kind of franchised. I've yet to go to the one that's closest to my house and there not be a line. Not be a line. I mean, you're always going to wait behind 2, 3, 4 people. But they're so quick with Amazon now. They just go beep, 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 and they just push it off the side until they can get to it. Yeah,
super fast, and they've got it really dialed in, and that's setting the standard for every other small business. I fixed my mic. It's setting that standard. Like, what happens there is going to affect all of these other businesses, but you can see more and more businesses moving online. But that doesn't mean people are just going to stay in their house and not leave their house. It's just like restaurants are absolutely packed right now. Like restaurants are absolutely packed, especially by the time when spring comes in Scottsdale, it's like they barely find a place to sit. They are absolutely packed. So there's some things where it's experiential. Like when there's experience tied to it, they're going to be busy. And I think there's some retail places that can actually do really well if they tie in the experience with it.
Yeah.
But a lot of just the regular stuff, you know what? It's actually probably better if you just, for everybody, including the environment, if you just have it delivered instead of going and having a massive store to go to. And Bed Bath & Beyond, I think, was that the one that I heard today was actually going in there?
Yeah, they went bankrupt for file Chapter 11 reorg or something like that.
I heard they're shutting it all down. That's what I read today. Don't quote me, but that's what I read today.
I might have misread it, but all right. So here's what I think I learned today. Right, ChatGPT is still dependent on a lot of past data. It's not able to analyze things that are current enough to say, hey, listen, here's the trend right now. Here's what I'm seeing right now today. It's still pulling stuff from like the last years. I don't even know how long it goes back, but it's too far to really trust.
Yeah, and will it ever be good enough to make connections that are oftentimes kind of weird connections that people make? That people can make connections and peer into the future and have some insight of what might be coming. Yeah. Not based on articles and a massive number of articles, but intuition and insight and gut and I shouldn't even say gut, it's experience. You've seen it before and you can start to see the signs coming again. Yeah, some people write about it, but it doesn't mean that ChatGPT is going to offer anything useful.
Yeah. All right. Hey, episode 87 is in the books. You've been listening to Mike and Blaine. You can see more about us and all of our episodes at markandblaine.com or YouTube, where you can
subscribe. I was like, what?
You watch us every time. I'm like, well, maybe if I just leave it open. I want people to think that we can finish each other's sentences, and we blew it.
Click play. No, subscribe, follow us, subscribe on your podcasting networks as well, and make sure you catch every episode.
There you go. Hey, another good one in the books. We'll talk to you next week or a couple days.
We're doing 2 this week because I was AWOL last week.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.